breaking news.
All right, the breaking news: a Pakistan International Airlines flight with more than 100 people on board has crashed in the city of Karachi. Officials say the flight was headed from Lahore to Karachi when it crashed just before it was scheduled to land. A spokesman for the airline confirms to CNN the pilot did make a mayday call reporting technical problems before it went down. These pictures you're looking at, we should tell you, it's just off one of the runways in the airport in Karachi, so you get a sense of how close it was to where it was trying to land. Joining us now, CNN transportation analyst Mary Schiavo. Mary, thanks so much for being with us. I know you've had a chance to look at some of these pictures that we're just getting in now. I want to know what you see here and also what you make of the news that the pilot did make a mayday call reporting technical problems.
The mayday call is extremely important and gives the most important clue to the puzzle right now, and also the flight radar that shows it had made a prior attempt to land and did a go-around. Now, that's highly significant because with the report of the mechanical problem and having done a go-around, in other words, it got down to 375 feet to try to land, couldn't do it, climbed to over 3,000 feet again and came around and tried again. So that means the pilot was having control issues with the aircraft, could not control the plane because of this reported mechanical difficulty. Could be an engine problem, could be any number of problems that you're having with the mechanical control of that plane. So that was a huge clue.
Can you go into that a little bit more, because it does beg the question, if you try to land, what keeps you from landing?
Exactly. What keeps you from landing can be many things, but the ability to control the plane all the way down to touchdown on the runway and to be able to keep that plane in the proper configuration, just to put it in layman's terms, the proper nose up, nose down configuration, be able to control it. So when you do touch down on the runway, you have control of the plane as you lose the lift. In other words, the air flowing over your wings when you touch that runway. So if you can't do that, if you're the pilot and you're at 375 feet over the ground and you don't feel you have control of the plane, you must go around. Those are the standards of International Civil Aviation Organization.
So this was an Airbus A320, one of the workhorses of the Airbus fleet. What do we know about the safety record of the A320, but also Pakistan International Airlines?
Right, and all of those come together, obviously, in a very bad situation here. But the A320 is a workhorse. I mean, it's been around forever. Airlines literally around the world fly them. But your aircraft is only as good as your maintenance crew behind you and your pilots, and, of course, pilots in the cockpit. Pakistan has had a lot of problems recently. As the world's crash rate, airplane accident rate is going down, Pakistan has had many crashes in the last decade. Pakistan was also plagued with a fake pilot with a false credentialings problem. About a year ago, they had to fire a number of pilots and other airline employees for having fake credentials, in other words, a fake pilot and others. And then with the crash record, they've had a lot of difficulties. So here, the issue is also they've just gone back to flying. They've only been back in the air for a little less than a week. And even in the United States, we worry about pilots who have been furloughed, maintenance people who have been furloughed, because, you really have to stay on top of your game. And so did the fact the airline had not been flying for some time also play a role in perhaps the maintenance or the readiness of this aircraft?
Again, we're looking at the pictures now of where this plane went down. It does appear to be in a residential area, or at least near buildings. What are the challenges now in going through this wreckage? What are they looking for, Mary?
Well, the first thing they want is, of course, the black boxes, which this plane has. It's about a 15-year-old aircraft, at least if I have the right aircraft when I looked it up. It's 15 years old. It'll have a pretty good black box. It won't have the newest black boxes, but it will have hundreds of parameters in meaning, in layman's terms, hundreds of lines of data code about how the aircraft was performing on one of the black boxes. Of course, on the cockpit voice recorder, it will have the voices of the pilots as they work to sort out what's going wrong with the flight, with the aircraft, and what they were doing on the go-around. In other words, making their second attempt to land. So the black boxes, of course, obviously the recovery of any of the crew and passengers, the human recovery is always number one, but black box recovery will be number two.
All right, Mary Schiavo, thank you very much for helping us understand what we're looking at right now. Again, a Pakistan International Airlines flight with more than 100 people on board has crashed. We are getting information. We'll bring you much more as it comes in.